Well, I'm thinking on, in particular, on schools and museums. There's not a week that doesn't go by that there's some awful mass casualty event. And I imagine that schools and museums in particular are, as public spaces, are thinking about and working with police, fire, emergency medical responders about, well, what if? And I could imagine that some of that planning is done either as a walkthrough by the fire marshal, that it's done off of a traditional two-dimensional floor plan. If I'm asking a commercial, if I'm asking, let's say, a school or museum about, if I'm asking my existing client, who I've already done a Matterport tour of their school, of their museum, and I ask a question about emergency preparedness, is it likely that I'm going to get an answer that, oh, yes, we do, in fact, plan on such scenarios? How might you help us with that?
Yeah, well, so we have a use case where the police officers actually walk through the schools from their desktop in their department, because actually walking through the schools right now for getting familiarity with the school can be a little traumatizing to the kids. Then they come in when the police are there or anything else. There's a little concern that goes through this. So they say we sit at our desktop, we can walk through, make sure we know where the library is, where the kitchen is, where any back hallways are, anything that might be, so they can. That is the use case that a lot of police have actually.
But I could do that with the Matterport tour that exists today. I don't need my Matterport Matterpack for that purpose.
Well, you can, but then you can also enhance it. Yes, you're right. But then you actually can say, okay, but what if we had something in the west corner of the building? If there was somebody here and we deployed, how do we handle going through this space? So where are pinch points? Where could we be sniped if we weren't careful, if we came through? And you can do that on your desktop with an actual assailant in that put in there that's shooting at you in the space. So, and you can do VR with it too.
To expand on that a little bit, the use cases for these spaces to alleviate and to improve outcomes for those terrible situations is actually two-pronged. The first is we've covered pretty well when it's used for training and pre-planning by the police themselves. But there's a second group of people that are very intrinsically involved in the outcome of any of these events, and that is the victims themselves, like the people that are involved and in the space when one of these tragedies strikes. And the feedback we've gotten from the schools we've talked to and a few of the commercial venues we've talked to is, especially when we've got both police and administrators in the room at the same time, the police understand, like, yeah, this is going to be great training opportunities for us. The surprising part is the administrators also want that same training, because the complexity and chaos that happens in a situation like that cannot be delivered looking at a Matterport web view, right? Like, you can't spawn in screaming children. You can't spawn in.
Sorry, I don't know what spawn means.
I'm sorry. You cannot add to an environment, to a Matterport scan, a bunch of screaming children, right? There would be no way to showcase that, to showcase the chaos of.
You can do that within the Matterport Matterpack.obj version that RSET is using.
Right. So I'm going to fire up a video here, and to preface the video, because there is sound on this one. If there's kids or if it's sensitive to gunfire, there is a bit of that. But to preface this video, think about.
And even though this is a super sensitive topic, I've asked the RSET team to share some of this video with us, because at the end of the day, this is about saving lives and reducing injuries, and it's that important. So if you're in this space, this matters.